Did you see the tweet picture I posted yesterday about what it said at the inside the stadium? Did you guys see the wall? Owen, did you see that?
I cannot. That is as bad as like the Colts with their AFC finalist banner. Like, who is conducting that survey? Who are you surveying?
Let me explain to people. So on the wall, it's an older stadium. It's a lot of concrete, right? And on the wall, just outside the Bills' locker room, there's this big mural, I'd call it. Right? It says Duval, and then it says ranked most intimidating chant in the NFL. I took a picture of it. I tweeted it at Sal Sports on X. Lots of engagement from a lot of you out there. I get it. And I didn't even mean for that. I was like, okay, like this is how they want to present themselves. Like when you walk into Kansas City, it says loudest environment in the world or something, whatever, right? Sure. Like 12th man, you get that in Seattle. Right. Yeah, there's a lot of things that these stadiums do. This one says ranked most intimidating chant in the NFL. Chant. By whom?
Right. Like, that's my thing.
Where can I find the ranking?
What's the data on that? Who's deciding? Like, does every team have a chance?
Oh, my God.
Like, what are we doing? And Duval wins?
Yeah.
Duval?
Ranked by the Jacksonville Times Union, probably. I have no idea who's ranking this.
Isn't the skull chant way more intimidating than Duval?
I mean, maybe. I just want to know where they based on what?
I can't.
I have no idea.
Everything's dumb.
Oh my gosh. That's Owen Parker. We got Dan Dale here. I'm Sal Capaccio. You are listening to the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show on a Buffalo Football Victory Monday, presented by Catholic Health, the right way to care, and brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com, and by Northtown Hyundai, Western New York's premier Hyundai dealership. Shop online at northtownhyundai.com. Let's get to the Barnes Firm injury update and report. The Barnes Firm injury report is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured? For help, call 1-800-8-million. A lot of names that are going to be on the injury report, folks. If you thought the last few weeks you saw a lot, wait till I think this week. I think, because it might be just the same names, though, right? But I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with Gabe Davis. If it's as severe as it looks, you're probably looking at him, being long-term here and them having to make a move. So he might not even be on the injury report if they actually put him on IR, but we're not there yet. We'll see what happens. Jordan Poyer left the game with a hamstring injury. They didn't have Ty Johnson available. Who else? Tyrell Shavers left and came back. And then there's Josh Allen dealing with what? A foot, a knee, a head, a hand. It might all be listed on the injury report this week. Matt Prater dealing with the right quad. I mean, there is going to be a lengthy list, and they need to get healthy quickly. Dalton Kincaid, knee, maybe ankle as well, or foot or something. There's a picture floating around that he had a boot on, but he finished the game, though, so we'll see where that is. There's a lot of stuff to take in here on this. So we'll get to all that later today. Sean McDermott speaks to the media at 4 p.m. today from down at One Bills Drive. Tomorrow they'll have their first actual injury report of the week, and that will be, again, the Barnes Firm Injury Report, brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured? For help, call 1-800-8-million. All right, thank you for waiting patiently, a lot of you. We're going to try to bang through a bunch of these calls. Let's start with Rick in Hamburg. Hi, Rick.
Oh, hi, Sal. Nice to talk to you.
You too.
I don't know if I ever had heart palpitations, but I think I had them yesterday. That game was amazing. But Mike in Florida stole my thunder pretty much with that second half debacle with the clock. The only thing I would add to that is I kind of remember Bills, trying to kill the clock and, hurrying up to the line, and the referee kind of standing over the ball, waiting for the defense or waiting for whatever to get set up. Why didn't that happen yesterday? That ball was set down and they were just let go. I mean, that was ridiculous.
It's a good question. Well, here's the two different things you're talking about probably. So I'm looking. I have to rewind back more than what I have here, but I do believe the referee set the ball. I could be wrong. The player can't set the ball. The referee at least has to touch it. He has to touch it. You know what I mean? Like to say. But the reason a ref stands over a ball is when the offense makes a substitution, the ref stands over the ball because then the defense is allowed to substitute before the snap. In this case, Jacksonville did not substitute, so the ref doesn't have to do that. Does that make sense?
Okay, that makes sense. Sure.
Yeah, so that's why they don't stand over it. That's right, and that's why. But I do think that he touched the ball to set it. Let's go to Becky in the Finger Lakes. Hi, Becky.
Hey, Sal. Just a quick question. When Jordan Poyer got hurt, Curtis Samuel, is he playing or no?
Curtis Samuel's a wide receiver. Jordan Hancock went in for him.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Yes.
Who are you looking for? You want to know why someone didn't play?
No. I was referring to Jordan Hancock. And I just wanted to say what a great job he did, what he continues to do.
Well, I would say that I thought he got a little lost in a couple coverages, Becky. They hit some big plays, but he did a good job in the run game when he had to come up. I thought that was a good job by him in the run game. But a couple of big plays over the middle that I think Jordan Hancock was a little too slow to recognize. And people have asked me, why did they not put Cam Lewis back there? My best guess is, and I don't know this, because the Bills wanted to play dime defense as the game went on, that they wanted Cam available to be their main dime guy. So therefore they put, Hancock in at safety, and Cam you didn't have to switch two roles, so to speak. And one guy gets hurt, you don't switch two roles. And I think that's why. But we'll see this week where Jordan Poyer's injury is, how that looks for Saturday, and obviously a full game plan maybe for Jordan Hancock, which could matter if he is going to play, or Cam Lewis. Let's go to Dan in Jacksonville. Hi, Dan.
Torpedo Dan in Jacksonville. Good morning, Sal.
Good morning.
Happy Victory Monday.
You too, buddy.
Never gets old saying that, right?
I know, right?
Two things. One, I personally have never missed a Josh Allen playoff game, minus the 2 home COVID games. Jaguar Stadium has always been a house of horrors for us, so that was phenomenal to walk out of there with a victory finally.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I don't think it was quite the level of Bills fans in the 17 game when they broke the drought, but there was a great representation, obviously.
We showed up and we showed out. I'm excited to see you guys in Denver next week as well. Question for you, how did Prater come out of the game? 'Cause I think going into next week, he's going to be a massive factor for us.
Yeah, he came out okay, I think. I mean, there was nothing that we got on the sidelines, no injury updates on him. And, kicking the ball in Denver, the altitude there, the ball carries a little bit. So you're right. I think that, it changes your strategy a little bit here and there. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Man, thanks for taking my call. Go Bills. I'll see you on Saturday.
Good seeing you this weekend as well, Dan. Thanks a lot, buddy.
You
got it. Yeah, for sure. Met a lot of great Bills fans this weekend down in Jacksonville. It was a really good time. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot out in Denver, but Denver's not Jacksonville. They have a really good, I would say they have a really good fan base. Sounds like Jacksonville doesn't, but it's more of a transient fan base in a lot of ways. They have been a team for 30 years, but man, Denver they've been there a long time, and they've seen championships. They've seen great players, and they have a really loyal fan base. They're not going to be selling their tickets off. There's going to be Bills fans there. It won't be like last week, though. It's going to be a loud, loud environment. It always is there. Let's go to Mike in Lancaster. Hi, Mike. You're on WGR.
Hi, Sal. Thank you for taking my call.
Yep.
Every time I call in, I always get a little bit nervous. But anyway, what I want to say is we have the best quarterback in the league, and we have the best running back in the league. And I think that they have to the offensive line has to make some holes for Cook to get through, because once he gets through, he's pretty much gone. I've been watching the Bills since the old rock pile. I'm 71 years old. I've seen a lot. I just sent a letter in to the Buffalo Bills, which I doubt very much that the coach seen it. I've often talked about them going into the no huddle, getting up to the line and snapping it right away. But like I say, I think it's very important that we get James Cook running, and that opens it up for Josh for the pass also. Okay, so that's all I want to basically say.
You got it. Thank you. Here's the issue, though, Mike. You're facing another really good run defense next week. So this week, going into the game, Jacksonville, the number one rush defense in the NFL, 85.6 yards a game allowed. News number 2, the team that's next up on the schedule, the Denver Broncos, 91.1 yards a game. And here's what's even more scary. The Broncos are actually better than the Jaguars on a per-play basis. They only allow 3.87 yards on the ground per play. They are tough up front against the run. Want more bad news? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to down you here, folks, because I'm going to give you the good news in a minute, okay? I promise. Whereas you can't really run on Jacksonville, ranking-wise, you can throw on them, and the Bills did yesterday. That's not the case with the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are the number 2 team in the league in rushing yards per game allowed. They're the number 7 team in the league passing yards per game, and number 1 in passing yards per play allowed, 5.37. And number 1 in sacking the quarterback at that rate. Over 11, almost 11.5% of the time that a quarterback drops back, he gets sacked against the Denver Broncos, which is an amazing number. That is so high. More than Houston, more than Cleveland, more than Atlanta, all these teams that get after the quarterback. Okay. You want the good news? I'll give you the good news now. As opposed to the team the Bills just played, the Jacksonville Jaguars, this is not the same offense to the same level. They can have some success, and they've done it. They're number 11 in passing yards a game, but only 25th in per play. The quarterback is just about a little over 60% completion guy. Let me get his exact, real quick here. I'll do this. Look at Bo Nix, because I had this yesterday. I was looking it up. Bo Nix completion percentage, 63.4%. That is not very high in the NFL. You just played a guy who had, what was his? Let me find up. Let me look at Jacksonville. 60.9. He's better than Lawrence, but another guy, two guys in a row here who don't complete a really high percentage of passes. And a lot of his stuff is not down the field. He's very low in numbers of rankings as far as throws down the field, air yards, throws down the field with completions. And the other good news here, I've given you some good news, they don't run the ball particularly well. Dobbins was a good running back for them who got hurt. It's been R.J. Harvey along the way, and he can have some moments, R.J. Harvey, the running back for the Denver Broncos. But overall, Denver's rushing attack is pretty average by the numbers. 16th in rushing yards a game, 15th in rushing yards a play. Not like and Jacksonville, again, Jacksonville's kind of the same way, and they did run the ball on the Bills. But I think that you're facing a better defense as far as wreaking havoc and making big plays. You're facing not as good of an offense as far as having the consistency. Let's go to Jim in North Carolina. Hi, Jim.
Hey, Sal. Yeah, we were there yesterday. Fantastic atmosphere. Great time with my boys. The one thing I wanted to point out that I was watching particularly on defense is how the Bills were shifting their pre- and post-snap reads. And I thought they did a great job on that, and I think it really tricked up Trevor Lawrence a little bit.
Did you listen to WGR at all last week leading into the game?
I didn't have a chance. I was out of town on business.
One of the things that I said a few times late in the week was that the Bills would do this because Liam Cohen talks to Trevor Lawrence in his headset until there's 15 seconds left on the play clock. And once it dips down, the Bills will change the picture and change the look so that he doesn't have those same answers to the test that he's giving him. And Liam Cohen said yesterday after the game, the Bills did a good job of that.
You think that's what happened when Shaq picked that pass
I do.
off?
I
that
do.
led to that?
In fact, it's a good question, Jim, because I remember, and if you go back, I don't know if you'll hear it on the TV broadcast, on the radio broadcast, I made a note of it, and I said this on radio yesterday. Right before that play, I heard Trevor Lawrence say, he either said high right, or high something. He said something high, like one high, or one right. I think that was what it was. And as soon as the ball was snapped, the Bills went to a too high safety look, and then Shaq just kind of dropped down in the middle, and he took. I do think that happened, yes.
Yeah, and the last point I want to make is, as I'm sitting there watching the game and all the noise and the Duval and all this stuff, and any stadium's going to have that atmosphere, right, when you're on the road. Mm-hmm. We've had it at home, and I was just thinking to myself, well, it's just all noise, and this team, Josh, has been there, they've done it, and I had this calm confidence, and I looked at my boys, and I was like, 4 minutes, 3 timeouts, number 17. And I had this quiet confidence, just watching it unfold. It was just it was fantastic to watch. Yeah. But thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks a lot, Jim. Yogesh in Wisconsin. What's up, man?
Sal, happy Victory Monday. I got one comment and one question. I thought that play that we had, that touchdown to Kincaid, was awesome. I think we've been setting that up all season with those screens and then getting one of those blockers out there and throwing it to them. I was a little worried. I watched the Ben Johnson call that play for the Bears, and I was like, uh-oh, this might alert Jacksonville to this, but it didn't. It was a great play. The question I have is about the guys on IR. Do any of them travel with the team, or are they still at, the team facilities? I'm thinking about a Curtis Samuel. Is he still, at the facilities getting treatment, involved with the team, in the receiver room?
I have not
But
seen him like out. Sometimes we see guys like Ed Oliver, for example. I haven't seen him, and it doesn't mean he's not there. I don't know. I think it's all an individual and case by case basis, so I couldn't speak specifically on him.
Okay, and then do some of these guys do they watch the game from at home? Like is Ed Oliver watching or Matt Harrison watching the game at home?
Yeah. I think they are sometimes. Actually, I think they are sometimes. You'll hear guys say like, "Yeah, I saw it from home. I was watching," but I don't know. Maybe they could be at the facility. But again, it's a case by case basis, so I'm not really sure on each guy and what they're doing on that day. Could be at the facility working out and watching it in the training room. You know what I mean?
I see. All right. Hey, great work, Sal. Looking forward to a full week of Bills content. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it, you guys. Thank you. Let's go to Tom and Cell. Hi, Tom.
Sal, how you doing today?
Good, buddy.
Yeah, it's always great, a nice victory on playoffs, and it's been pretty good here. I heard people complaining yesterday and reading some people complaining this morning, and just be happy for 24 hours. But, I think you talked about Greg Rousseau a little bit earlier, and I thought he was great yesterday, not just getting to the passer. It seemed like when he was out there with some of the few times the run defense was better, and he really held his edge better than the other defensive ends. And I thought Shaq Thompson really showed up. Here's an old guy who was almost an afterthought brought into camp. And I think, a lot of us thought, well, maybe he'll make the team. Maybe he won't. He's being brought in. He knows McDermott and all that. And he's turned out to be a real revelation for the team. And his steady play, and, he had the interception. He was pretty close to another one too. He just kind of slipped as he was reaching to dive for it. But he's very good, and he's, I think you can make a case that he's the best linebacker right now. And it's really a nice little find.
In the middle for sure. But Matt Milano, first play of the game yesterday, made a great play, and he was good yesterday as well.
He was great too. Yeah.
Yeah. The Bills played some base yesterday. Dorian Williams came in a little bit later. They used him as a spy. I think they used somebody as a spy. I don't know exactly who was on him on each one. I think your point, though, Tom, to me about Shaq is a bigger point for me, which is, think of this: Shaq Thompson, Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White. Now, Shaq wasn't here before, but he was with McDermott. Older guys who come in that when it happens, you're like, why are they doing this? These guys are old. They got nothing left just because they know the system. Yeah, these guys are really big, important parts right now to the Bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're super smart out there, and
yep.
They know where to be. I mean, Thompson's interception is not the type of interception a younger linebacker makes. He knows what's going on. He read his eyes and timed his move to the ball perfectly. That you're not, even a Dorian Williams, he's not going to make that play, or some other young linebacker you might throw out there. That's a smart veteran guy who's standing back and reading the eyes and knew what was coming.
You got it, buddy. Take care, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, yeah, let's go to Ray, who's up next. Hi, Ray.
Hi there, Sal.
Hi.
Sal, I'm one of those fans that I don't look back and have an opinion evaluating a situation. I always think, what's it like in the moment? Like, it's the whatever team I like makes a trade, I'm not going to wait. It's like, what's my feeling right then and there? And when the Bills came out yesterday, and we didn't have Ty Johnson. And of course, first of all, the obvious good in the game is the obvious good. I just wanted to bring this up because I don't know what it's going to be like going forward. I wanted to see Cook a little bit more on the field because, with Ty Johnson, they would run him, they would throw to him. You didn't know. But the fact is, we activated Gore. I think it was going to be pretty obvious that we weren't running. I just feel like our hand was kind of exposed when Cook came off. I think right away it was like second down and third down, and Cook's not there. Well, we make it obvious that we're going to pass. And I don't know what Johnson's injury is going forward, but I would like it to be a little less revealing. I'd like to see Cook out there second and third, even if you don't. It's just that other choice that makes the defense on edge as opposed to. Yeah, they're not handing off to Gore, or probably not Ray Davis either.
Yeah, Ray Davis didn't even have a carry in this game.
Well, yeah, and neither did anyone else besides Cook and Allen.
That's right, yeah.
But that's my point, though. Going forward, I don't want it to be obvious. At least with Cook being in there, you're going to have to rely on him a little bit more if Johnson's out. And that's what I like.
Here's my best guess on this. Okay. James, Ray. Here's my best guess. And again, you could agree or disagree with how they want to run this, but there was such a premium on protection of Josh Allen yesterday that instead of having James Cook on there in those situations, they went with an extra tight end and said, now we can either keep them in the block. If they want to come after us, we'll have an extra guy. James Cook isn't the best pass. He's better at it, pass blocking tight end, and I think that they would rather have more fortification for Josh Allen up front than having that. And again, no doubt you can throw the ball to James Cook. that to me, the plan started yesterday with protection, and I think that's why you see James Cook coming off the field, if that makes sense.
All right, that's a very good point, and I didn't notice the extra tight end, so at least.
Well, let me look at the snap count. So James Cook was on for 38, but you know what? Dawson Knox, 30. Dalton Kincaid, 28. Both just 48 and 44%. So, yeah, and then Jackson Hawes, another 35%. They ran two tight ends quite a bit yesterday.
All right, yeah, good point. I guess at that point, when you got the number one rushing guy in the league as an option, I like to see him get a little bit more when your backup is hurt.
Yeah, I understand.
But your point makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, Ray. Thanks. So we'll see what happens this week. Let's go to. We're gonna stay in Clarence. Joe's up. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Sal, you do a great job. Here's my question to you. Are the Bills going to do anything with a short week in terms of the altitude and prepping for that? And the next question is this. When their fourth down play where they did the tush-push and drove Josh into the end zone, it actually looked like the offensive lineman picked Josh up off the ground and carried him to the end zone. Is it legal?
Yes, it is. Right now, you can do that. I actually don't think it should be in the NFL. I don't even think you should be able to push guys forward in the NFL. But it is the rule. And remember, when this was brought up at the owners' meetings last year, and it was a rule that was voted on, the tush push and pushing people, they basically said you can do this. And he did. Osiris Torrance carried him. And, hey, that's the rule right now. You're allowed to do that. We'll see if that changes. As far as altitude is concerned, Joe, I'm sure they're prepping behind the scenes for the altitude, but there's not going to be anything, as far as I know, of getting out there any earlier than normal or anything like that. But I'm sure behind the scenes they'll be doing whatever they need to do, sports science-wise and medical-wise, to prepare as they always do. You know what I mean?
All right. Thanks a lot, Sal. Go Bills.
All right, you got it. Thank you very much. Let's go to Kevin, who's up next. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Sal, quick question. That running back for Jacksonville that rambled off 44 yards and 3 carries. What happened to that guy during the game? I mean, I'm glad he didn't show back up, but what happened to him?
Bashawn Tutin? Yeah,
Yes.
4 carries, 51 yards. It's a good question. He's a nice little running back, right? I mean, like he gives you some pop. And I guess they just really would rather have Travis Etienne on the field. And I understand why. Etienne is such a good pass catcher. Etienne caught 5 for 49. I think when Tutin's on the field instead of him, you're taking away a little bit of that element. That's probably why, though, in my guess.
Okay, thanks, Sal. Go Bills.
All right, you got it. Thank you. Let's go to Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Sal. How are you? Great win. Mike, I hate to complain, but, I mean, Joe Brady, 10 rushes on first down for Cook. On one, he got more than 3 yards. So 9 out of 10 times he had Josh in a second and long situation, which, of course, is why Cook comes out of the game, because you're in a passing situation. And it wasn't until the halfway through the fourth quarter that he started letting Josh throw the ball on first down. And it's so predictable, and he kept putting Josh. I mean, thank God we have Josh, because I'm watching the game, and I'm screaming at the television because almost every single time they're on first down, they're running Cook up the middle. And
okay, I'm going to give you the stats. Just so you know, okay? Because I want to be right on this, and we can all say it. And it sounds you're right. When they ran the ball, they did not gain many yards. Okay, the Bills had a total of 21 first and 10 plays. Actually, 22 first down and 10 plays in this game. How many do you think they handed off?
Well, I know they handed off to Cook 10 times.
Well, they had 8.
I went through the play-by-play.
Well, I'm showing 8 rushes, 13 passes. They threw the ball more than they ran the ball on first and 10. On first and 10, they had 8 rushes for a total of 17 yards, which is not good, to your point, and I agree with you. 13 passes for a total of 135 yards. So they should have probably done more of the passing, but they did more of the passing than you think they did.
Well, I think a lot of that came in the second half and the fourth quarter.
Probably right.
They started throwing the ball more because they weren't moving the ball on the run. And, I mean, maybe I added wrong, but I went through the play-by-play last night and I counted 10. But
yeah, I'm just looking at the game and information system stats I have. I'm just telling you, I'm not disagreeing with you that they probably could have used more 1st and 10 throws. My guess is because Josh is banged up and you want to make sure you keep them honest, so to speak. The cliche that you don't completely abandon the run. But that's a great point. I mean, 1st down, you can catch them off guard. They're thinking you're going to run. I'd like to see it, but it was more than people think it was. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Yeah, I get it. I saw Warren Sharp's stat on this yesterday. It's not wrong. The Bills were not good on 1st and 10 running the ball, and they did run the ball a little too much. Now, he said 10. It might have been because there was a 1st and 8. I don't know why that is. Was it? Oh, maybe from the goal line.
I was thinking it might have been a couple of toss plays that technically are passes that look and feel like runs to people that
but there was also a 1st and 8, so that must have been a goal line play,
right?
Right. So that's probably a run there. That gets you to your 8th, and there was a 1st and 1 rush, but maybe that could have been maybe that's Josh. I don't know.
Tush push.
There
first
you go.
Down
Yeah.
At the
so
goal
they
line.
had they had how many 1st down rushes? 8, 9, 10 total 1st down rushes.
Right.
They had 14 total 1st down passes, according to the game book stats that I'm looking at. Let's get to Kelvin in South Carolina. I know we're a little late to the break, but let's get him in. He's been waiting. Go ahead, Kelvin.
Hey, Sal. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it.
Every Monday.
Yep.
I just want to get your thoughts on just the inconsistencies with the NFL. You take the Jacoby Myers catch that should have been incomplete. The booth doesn't call down on the field, but then Brandon Cooks makes a catch. And the Bills try and get on the ball to run a quick play. You've seen the frustration from Edwards and James Cook about how they wouldn't let us run.
Do I remember the Jacoby Myers? I don't think I do. Remind me of the Jacoby Myers player. When did that happen?
It was in the first quarter. He was going towards the sidelines. It was like a diving play where it looked like the ball hit the ground.
Okay.
It was earlier in the game.
Okay.
But then the Cooks play that was pretty much a massive play. It was a game-changing play. It took us out of a scoring position. But when the Bills tried to run a play, the booth called down and ended up reviewing the play without the Jaguars having to challenge the play.
Yep.
So my thing is, and then you got the last play with the 10-second runoff. Why should the Jaguars be punished for a 10-second runoff having to take a timeout when it's the NFL who buzzed down and is making that decision? It just seems kind of
it's a great point. I others agree with you. The reasoning that they give you is because they say it would take probably 10 seconds to get everybody lined up and run a play, which isn't true. We know that, right? And that's why they do it. So if you're out of timeouts and the clock is running and there's a stoppage because of that, it's a 10-second runoff. And I agree. The NFL is inconsistent with that. They're inconsistent with their clock management rules. Look what happened at the end of the half. It was ridiculous. But ball don't lie. And we don't lie here on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show. We take your phone calls. Honesty, transparency. Sit up, stand down. Hey, buddy. All of it on the way here on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show on WGR.